Yeah, but
Good morning,
Okay.
everyone. Someone got unmuted. Hold on. Let me go ahead and mute the room. Good morning to all of you. Welcome to Monday. Welcome to the Monday Namaste experience.
Good morning.
What we are here for is to awaken the experience of reality, love, the real within us, as opposed to sleepwalking through the unreal, the identity, the limited self, the small egoic self. We could call it so many things, but it's an experience that we are here to awaken within us so that we can be in this vibratory state of oneness, not in our minds, not intellectually, but to be on fire with the experience of that oneness or that reality. What are the reason could we really want to be here? What else is there but that? And tomorrow, as all of you know, it's going to be a very powerful day, as many thousands of people are going to be gathered all over the world, beginning at 9 a.m. my time, noon New York time, 11 a.m. there at Namaste Village. People will be gathered all over the world to hold still for just a few moments and to feel this reality, and then extend that to the situation in the Ukraine. And in doing so, to awaken the reality of this in each other, in everyone, wherever we are, no matter what, to experience the power of this true identity of what we might call the Christ, or what we might call the awakened one, reality itself. And so tomorrow, as people all over the world gather, not only at 9 a.m. My time, but also in every time zone at 2:22, there'll be prayer vigils and people doing events. We're joining with unify.org for this event tomorrow, and throughout the whole day they'll be broadcasting all of these other events in every time zone. But we'll be starting with us. It'll be starting at 9 o'clock Pacific time, and then at 9:22 at that at my time zone, we'll hold still together. So I invite all of you to join us. It'll be at unify.org/love. If you don't have that already in one of the emails, make sure you write that down. So at whatever time zone is appropriate for you, you'll be able to go there, join us, be part of this amazing vision and experience. And as you can see, I am not in Ukraine. I'm still in Portland. Of course, the intention was for me to travel there as the Peace Troubadour and to be performing a peace concert at the same time that this vigil would be going on. But as things have further developed there, it has become more difficult. Flights have stopped. Americans are not being allowed in at the border. It's looking more and more like we are on the brink of a very terrible situation. And yet this is when we are called to do our great work. We've seen this many times when we've been on the brink of a battle, a war, a conflict. And yet we realize that when massive numbers of people come together to focus on the reality of that Christ consciousness and then project it into that situation, it's not only a powerful force, but I believe it is the most powerful force in the universe. We've seen wars averted, battles pushed back many times, miracles, and we know that the same thing can happen tomorrow. And yet it will only happen when we realize just how powerful the reality of our joined intention is, the truth of who each one of us is in the mind of God, in the heart of God. And so with that being said, as a way of inspiring that knowledge and that experience, I found something that I want to read and share with you that comes from a Byzantine monk who lived in the 10th century named Simeon the theologian. I heard this on an audiobook. I've heard it before, but it reminded me just how beautiful and how well expressed the experience is in these words. So often, whether it be me or Vicky or our dear Teddy or anyone else that we have share here, it's so difficult for us to relate in intellectual terms what this experience is. But this poem, this prayer, comes as close as anything I've ever heard before. So I'd like to share that with all of you. And as you hear it, I'm just going to invite you to just breathe it in as deeply as you can, not so much the words, but the spirit behind the words, the experience that Simeon was clearly having, which we can choose as well. And in choosing this together, the power of our joined intention will be greater than anything we can imagine, greater than any army amassing at a border. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll read this very slowly together. Here we go. We awaken in Christ's body as Christ awakens our bodies. We awaken in Christ's body as Christ awakens our bodies. I look down, and my poor hand is Christ. He enters my foot and is infinitely me. I move my hand, and wonderfully my hand becomes Christ, becomes all of Christ. I move my foot, and at once he appears in a flash of lightning. Do my words seem blasphemous to you? Then open your heart to the Christ and let yourself receive the one who is opening to you so deeply. Let yourself receive the one who is opening to you so deeply. For if you genuinely love God, we wake up inside Christ's body, where all our body, all over, every most hidden part of it is realized in joy as God. And Christ makes us utterly real. And everything that is hurt, everything that seemed to us dark, harsh, shameful, maimed, ugly, irreparably damaged, is in him, in Christ, transformed. And in Christ, recognized as whole, as lovely, and radiant in his light, we awaken as the beloved in every part of our body. We awaken as whole. What seemed to be every part of us becomes one. Even the many people who are joined here in this room now or tomorrow, all the thousands of people that will be meditating and praying for this situation in Ukraine, we become one in and as Christ. In and as Christ. Because the Christ, contrary to what most of us were told when we were raised, is not a person. It can be, oh, someone got unmuted. It can be inhabited as a person, as you, as me, as each one of us, as Jesus. Certainly the awakened one, the first one, perhaps, to realize the immensity of this presence and this reality, and to live so securely within that presence that anyone who would come into his presence or touch the hem of his garment would be healed. That's how hot the fire was in his reality, in his being. But the same thing can be true for us. And when we realize that, as Simeon shared so beautifully, and then join in that, this is why we come together here almost every day, to join in that fire. You could have one stick that is burning with a flame, but when you have many sticks or many logs that come together and burn together, the fire and the radiation and the heat that comes from that changes everything, engulfs the whole world. And that's the preparation. We've been, many of us, coming here almost every day for a long time now. And this is the preparation for moments like the one that will occur tomorrow, when we join together and we become the radiant center of this prayer vigil, of this meditation. Because through our constant and consistent joining, we have learned to allow our hearts to beat as one. We've learned to breathe together as one, as the Christ. And then when we look down at our hand, we see the fingers and the hand of the Christ. I look down at my poor feet, and my feet become the Christ. Everywhere I look, every person I see becomes the Christ. Not that they've changed, it's just that suddenly I see what has always been seen by God. So I thought this little prayer from Simeon would help to stoke the fire as we get closer to this worldwide prayer vigil, this synchronized meditation that will happen tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, we'll have our session at the normal time, and then I invite you just about an hour and a half or so after that session happens to just stop what you're doing. Even if you can't go online to unify.org/love, just stop wherever you are and feel the pulsing heartbeat of this family joined in the Christ, as the Christ, and know with complete certainty that this is a powerful force of love, and that there is no war or army that can stand in the way of it. When we have that kind of confidence, then there's nothing in this world that can be held against it. And with all of the other thousands of people that will be doing this at the same time, each one of us, because we're consistent in our joining, we will be together in the center of this prayer vigil. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to David now and hear what David has to share about this beautiful experience. Good morning, brother.
Good morning, James, and everyone. When you read that beautiful poem, that beautiful writing, what I heard was becoming the Christ is becoming the love, as the love, that when we touch it in its fullest and its most complete, and we share with each other, what did you experience? What we say is we experienced a love that was so great that filled us, that did fill our toes and our hands and our minds and radiate from us. And that's to me what we're doing. And that's what happens tomorrow, is we're taking that time to say, wow, we look at humankind in an experience that's difficult, that's painful, and what lifts us from that, what heals us in the midst of that, what has awakened our lives before, and suddenly we change, we look differently, we respond differently. It's been when we have experienced that love, that to me is the reality, that the Christ is in us, as us, through us, in our individual being and what we are collectively. And so to have this time, this beautiful opportunity tomorrow to say, we are going to experience that. We are going to be in love with people all over this earth. We are going to let it fill us, fill our hands, fill our hearts, fill our bodies. But more than that, the body can't contain it. It flows, it touches everyone around us. And together it becomes so strong as it goes around the earth that it touches all of us, our human family. And these people who are caught in what looks as though it could be a conflict, but can also be an awakening. And so our love goes to them because we see they are the Christ, whether they're people in towns in the Ukraine, whether they're leaders, whether they're people who are soldiers on one side or another, or the leaders who command them. They are all that being awakening. And so we can hold them. We can hold them in our love. Yes, that becoming the Christ. And this is how we do it. What a beautiful writing, what a beautiful sharing, what a beautiful gift at this time when, what do? How do we respond to the pain, the fear, the need for power, the lack of peace that we see going and touching people in their struggle, in their journey? What do? We love. That is not only the answer, it is the journey, it is the completion, it is the power. Because what we are learning is what the real power is, and it's our love that unites us and lifts us and brings illumination on our journey forward. So thank you for that, James. What a beautiful focus and invitation to us all. And I look forward to being able to join with people all over as we do this. We just plain old-fashioned love together and let it flow and embrace that beautiful part of the world, and know that when we use that love and peace, yes, it will touch Ukraine, it will touch the people there. But the truth is, all of us are in a greater growth of peace and love, and it touches all of our human family. What a gift, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And it's very important for us to remember that when we are projecting this love together, we are extending the indiscriminate love of the Christ, which means that this is not directed only toward the Ukrainians, but to all of the Russian soldiers that are on the border, all of the leaders of both countries, every person. In fact, beyond all of that, even, it would be tempting to say, well, this is for the people of Ukraine, but then that makes it not for another group. No, this is for the one, the expression of the one that finds itself either in Ukraine or Russia or where you're sitting, each and every single one of us, everyone. So we don't have to choose who's receiving this. We just have to project our love, our light, our passion, our energy, our fire to that situation, and then let it do its work. We don't have to do anything more than just focus and love. And the love and the energy itself will do the work for us indiscriminately, touching everyone involved. So I looked and I didn't see Vicky. Vicky, are you here? If you are, say something, but yeah, I didn't see her in the room. So I see that Baraka has his hand up. And if you look in the background of Baraka's picture, you'll see the original peace bus that Baraka and I drove all over North America doing this work. Oh my goodness, those were days. It's basically, as you can see there, a huge horizontal peace pole that says, may peace prevail on earth on both sides. So, Baraka, what would you like to share?
Well, I'm reminded of that trip that we made, and at one point when we were in Columbus, Ohio, you decided to zip off to Iraq, um, and left me holding the bag there, so to speak. Um, but yes, driving around the 15-ton peace pole around the country was really an amazing experience. The reason I actually raised my hand was a little bit of housekeeping. At the website for unity.org/love, they're announcing that the peace vigil will happen at 2:22 Pacific time, which would be 5:22 Eastern time. So I don't know if the information that we have is, if I'm looking at the wrong thing or something like that, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. 2:22 Pacific time, which would be 5:22 Eastern time, 4:22 IEEE time, etc. Is that your understanding, Jimmy?
Well, I'll check the website. I'm not sure. I haven't looked, so I don't know what it says. But what I can tell you is that the broadcast starts at 9 a.m. my time, 11 a.m. Central Time, noon Eastern Time.
Hmm.
The broadcast does. But in each time zone, people are stopping and praying, but they're going to start with this Ukraine vigil.
I
So,
see.
but maybe the website doesn't reflect that. So I'll get on with them today and make sure that they put that properly or send out an email saying that. So thank you.
Okay, my pleasure.
Do you remember any stories or any experiences from when I went off to Iraq on that journey? And
Well, yeah, we had it all set up. There was going to be a big happening at the convention we were at, and then you left and left me to run the event, and you took a satellite phone with you to call into the event when it happened. Unfortunately, the people at the convention gave us the wrong phone number, and so you kept calling me on my personal cell phone, and thank God I had one. I don't know. And so they finally we got that straightened out. We got you the correct phone number, and you were able to speak to the entire convention at that time. Later on, after you hung up, we held up the peace quilt that we had with us, the portion of it that we had with us, and then we passed a bag around for anyone who wanted to contribute to supporting this effort. And we had to actually add a second bag. The fruit was so amazing there. And I can't remember who else was there were several other people who were speaking at that event as well. I don't remember who they were, but at the end, one of them came up to me and said, "Next time I do an event, I want you with me." And I said, "Hey, I'm just the bus driver." But this was I would love driving down the road and people would honk as they passed us and put their hands up in the peace sign and everything. It was just a beautiful experience all around. It just was so amazing to know that I had this I had this event, this entire tour where I could center myself in the idea of peace on earth, and nothing could distract us from that. It was so wonderful.
Yeah, such great memories. Remember them very well.
Mm.
Miss that bus sometimes.
Oh, really?
Well, not really. It- I I call buying that bus the most ridiculous fun thing I ever did.
The best worst idea, right?
Yes. Both. Thank you, Baraka. Thank you for
Oh,
putting that picture up there as well and
my pleasure.
reminding me of that. I would love to turn. I'm sorry.
James, I wanted to just mention something that the bus and your work over time uh, maybe is important for us to just acknowledge for a moment. that this desire for peace is core to who we are as beings, that it's there, it's been there throughout time. It's been there throughout, our life journeys and your life journeys, but it's because it is in our hearts because we are one. We know that every time we disturb that, we hurt ourselves, we hurt each other. And then we must reach for the healing. We must reach for the love. So we are constantly in this desire for peace that we try to bring about as best we can. And sometimes we grow in that understanding, and sometimes we realize, whoops, I got that one wrong. But it's core to who we are as beings. So what we're doing here on tomorrow is acknowledging not only a need in the planet at this time, but a need in humankind that is core to what in your poem you called the Christ, and our love for each other. We desire only to be blessing to each other. And that is just important for us to maybe stop and remember that's who we are.
So beautiful. So well said. That is who we are. We are aligning with the truth and the reality of who we are. And there's no more powerful force than that love that we are now, that we often hide from or deny. But all we're really doing is opening the curtains and basking in the glow of that great love together as one, and then allowing it to do its great work, as we said before. I'd love to turn to Alice and see what Alice would like to share as we wind closer to this world event.
Thank you. It's been very powerful and very healing words said today. And I've been feeling the vibrations of all the words that are more than the words, the love behind everything that you've said, David and James and Baraka, and all the thoughts that we've all had. And I wanted to talk about how we use the word one. It's used a lot, and sometimes I don't know if it's experienced as much as the word is used. And the word one has been used a lot today, and it's incredibly important. It's the difference between the unity, the oneness, the unity of everything, and just having a relationship with it. And by that, I mean, having a relationship with everything is wonderful, but that still is separation. Oneness is the unity of it all. And as we look at the beautiful planet that we all have our bodies on at the moment, how else can we see the oneness of humanity, but from that distance? We're all on this circle together. We're all on this planet together. And there is no separation between, as you said so beautifully, David, the Russians, the Ukrainians. There's no bad guys or good guys. There is the one. And when I was focusing on that this morning, I was really feeling that. So I was sort of meditating early this morning, and I was feeling, how can we give that to the leaders? How can we give that awareness of oneness and not separation to the leaders? And I closed my eyes and I said, God, just remind them. Remind all beings that we are actually one in the unity and the love of our Maker. It's like swimming in the great ocean. We are one and part of the unity of the ocean of love. And so this feeling of oneness is just, to me, is an experience. It's not just a word. And that beautiful poem, James, that you read to begin with, he couldn't have written that without the experience. He just couldn't have, not at all. He couldn't have picked up his pen and written that. He has given us the experience through his own experience, and you this morning have given us the same experience. And that laid the foundations of this incredibly beautiful unity that we all have here today. So as we embrace this time and this timeliness that we all have, just go deeper. I mean, I know I'm going deeper into what one, the unity of one, true oneness really means. So that's what I wanted to share today.
Thank you, Alice. It's just beautiful. This is going to be a very, very powerful, amazing opportunity for us to demonstrate that one, the experience of one, not just as a concept or an idea or a way of talking, but an actual experience that we join in. And the more deeply we join together in that experience, the more universal and overwhelming it becomes, so that it just overtakes each and every single one of us. This situation in Ukraine and Russia and everywhere else, right where you're standing, right where you are right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I see that George and Storm have their hands up. We're going to end the recording here, but if the rest of you guys want to hang out for just a moment and we can hear from these guys. But for those of you joining on YouTube, we invite you to join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern time. Just go to unified.org/love and you can be part of the worldwide broadcast that we'll be doing there at this time. So for all of you who are on Zoom, namaste, and we'll see you tomorrow.